You're about to jump out of the plane. Let's do it.
You can simply put yourself inside your own videos. Here's me tanning leather. Here's me working on an oil rig. Check it out. I have done a ton of Sora 2 video.
Built this week, breaking it down. Built this week, we show you how. A fresh idea, a clever tweak. You locked in, you built this week.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Built This Week, the podcast where we share what we're building, how we're building it, and what it means for the world of AI and startups. I'm Sam Nadler, co-founder at Rise Labs, and I'm joined each and every week by my business partner and friend, Jordan Metzner. How's it going today, Jordan?
Hey, Sam. Happy to be back. Another new episode. Lots going on in the AI world. So super excited to get started today.
Yeah, of course. We'll jump into the docket, but before we do, just remember to like and subscribe. We have new episodes every Friday, and you can find them on your favorite place to listen to podcasts: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So today we're going to talk about a really cool product you built regarding parking tickets for Los Angeles. And I think you were inspired by something similar that was happening in San Francisco. And just about, I think yesterday, Sora 2 came out, and we've been playing with it all day yesterday. So it'll be a fun second topic. And then, of course, some latest and greatest AI news.
Awesome. Yeah, let's get into it. So, just about a week or so ago, I saw someone on Twitter had posted a live map of the parking tickets being issued in the city of San Francisco. So he had gained access to the API that showed where the tickets were being issued, and he was able to show in real time where the meter maids were, essentially those who write the tickets. And I found this incredibly fascinating. It went a little bit viral on Twitter, and then really quickly the city of San Francisco tried to do whatever they could to kind of patch it up. I believe they took down the parking system multiple times in order to block his access from this real-time data. And I think the city defended it as they were trying to create safety for their officers, and that by giving this live data that would be a threat or some type of danger to the officers. But the consumers or, the residents of the city loved it because they saw where officers were, meaning, they could probably park in an area if there was no officers nearby, and avoid a parking ticket. And, parking tickets are one of those things that, we've decided as a society that we're okay with, but, everyone in society kind of hates them. And, depending on where you are in the country or city, you might find more aggressive or less aggressive means for attacking parking tickets. And once I saw this, I was super excited about, kind of where else could I do this type of implementation. And luckily, the city of Los Angeles has a really good set of data. I've manipulated the data from the city before, looking at parking data at LAX and a few of these other APIs. And thanks to a company called Travis, which has the contract with the city of LA, there's pretty much access to the data through Excel, queries, as well as APIs. So I thought it'd be fun to take the LA parking data. I queried the API. I did this last week, so the data might be a little bit stale. And essentially show a map of where parking tickets are being issued in LA. So I did that here. And here's the city of Los Angeles. And you'll notice there's some pockets kind of where there's no parking tickets, like, for example, in Beverly Hills or Santa Monica. These actually happen to be autonomous cities within the city of Los Angeles. And so this actually makes a lot of sense. What you can see here is like the different officers. So, if you kind of find officer, this officer L4, let's see, officer 53, you can see kind of, he's been working the Valley area and, as far north up till here, as far east and west all the way over here. But you can see plenty of pockets kind of where, these officers are actually, not really penetrating. And, this is Ventura Boulevard. So, obviously there's the most amount of tickets being happened on a main avenue. And we can go through kind of different officers and see, where they're giving, their tickets. I also have like an officer leaderboard here. So you can kind of see which officers are driving the most amount of revenue. I've also actually added, well, I mean, you got to understand, these are officers writing tickets.
I'm just kidding.
So
they're doing their job.
Yeah, they're doing their job.
Yeah.
But, Obviously Officer 56 is in the lead here with 329 tickets, 55 with 141. And again, this could be some data discrepancy just in how I brought the data in. But it looks like, in general, officers are writing, I think in like over this time period, about 150 tickets or so, per officer. And then I also have it segmented out by, vehicle type, vehicle color, I have violation type. I have the different agencies, so we can see kind of like, does the downtown area versus other areas. And then I also have some date range selectors as well. Something interesting with the colors, I started to notice, obviously, black, white, and gray are the most ticketed cars, but they're probably also the most popular colors. And so I was trying to see, are there any car colors that like don't get tickets very often? Brown, purple, and gold cars just don't get tickets very often, but they're also, not very popular car colors. So, I don't know if the solution to avoid parking tickets is to get a brown car, but, the data would lead you to believe that that would be true. So, this is called Tix LAX. Like I mentioned, all supported by, LA parking meter data straight from the city of Los Angeles. And then, using Mapbox here. I coded almost all of it using Cursor and Codex, OpenAI's Codex 5. And happy to answer any questions, Sam.
Yeah, what you mentioned that the San Francisco version was using live data. This is not live data, correct? And over what period of time is this data? And could you utilize live data? So you could, literally open up that application and be like, they're not in this area. I could probably get away with it for the next hour.
Great question. So when I looked at the data set, first I had some parking tickets that were actually given in the future. And so that meant to me that, there were some missed dates or an officer had labeled, written 2026 instead of 2025. So I actually found some parking tickets that were written for November, December of this year, which hasn't happened yet. But when I looked at the data set, it was about 2 days delayed. So it looks like officers kind of write their tickets on the street and then they upload it into the system. And so if I recall correctly, I was first download this data, I think around September 24th. And I think the newest tickets were from September 22nd. So about a 2-day delay, in seeing the data online, which means like not ability to get live data. I tried very hard. When I saw that there were the tickets kind of in the future, I thought, oh wow, I mean, maybe these tickets are getting uploaded in real time. But then I realized kind of like everything's about a 2-day delay. So not the same ability to kind of see where officers are, right now or on a map or anything like that. And I think that's probably makes it, a little bit safer for officers as well, just if you're looking at this data set. But I think, the city and the technology doesn't offer real-time data sets.
Yeah, well, just looking at the patterns here, I mean, looking at the valley, you could probably, justify if your goal is to avoid parking tickets, which it probably shouldn't be, but just for the sake of this conversation, you could probably, justify parking just a couple blocks off Ventura. It looks like they pretty much stick to Ventura Boulevard, and avoid getting a parking ticket. But either way, I mean, I think it's a really fun use case. Pretty amazing what you can do with available APIs for a bunch of different use case and just represent data and drive informed decision makings in a really, really quick and easy way.
I mean, as you mentioned about Ventura Boulevard, these are all expired meters. I filtered here by meter expiration. So, this is where the meters are located, but, don't let your meter expire on Ventura or it looks like you're probably going to get a ticket, and it looks like there's a huge stretch here between Sherman Oaks and, Encino where they just simply either don't have meters or they're not highly enforced. But, kind of once you pass this street right here, it looks like this is kind of no man's land. So, I think that's super interesting, just like an interesting way to look at the data. If I had more data, it might show some different behavior patterns. But, I think this is just like the beginning of, giving, residents and citizens access to their city's data to be able to look at it in different ways. And, I think, we have open records, we have Freedom of Information Act, and this is just one more way where, residents can take advantage of leveraging the data in their own town and see what the impact is. In this case, parking tickets. And you can even see, I mean, this isn't even that much money. I mean, 20,000, 11,000, 12,000. I mean, I don't know exactly the time period this was over, but, it's simply just not a significant amount of revenue for a city as large as Los Angeles. So, what is the purpose here? Is this even efficient? I believe I read a few months ago that the actual parking division was cash flow negative, meaning that they generate more costs than tickets they generate in revenues. And so, really, what are we trying to do here? If we just eliminated this parking department, would we end up saving money and have a better quality of life in society, et cetera? So, hopefully that's a little background on my parking app, and I hope you like it.
Super cool. Yeah, let's transition. Yesterday, Sora 2 came out. You and I have both been playing with it pretty much all day. I would say there's a few things that make it really impressive. And then I think it trails a little bit in to Veo 3. But, for me, what I think is really, really impressive is the fidelity of, the face and who's generating it. I also think like the social app launch included with Sora 2 was a really cool way to get users, posting videos and sharing what they're making. But I feel, and this is, one day of use, the physics, there's a couple kind of active videos I made, whether it's skateboarding or playing soccer. It was pretty wonky compared to Veo 3. But yeah, I would love to hear your opinion, what you've built. Maybe let's build one live right now and then take it from there.
Yeah, so I have done a ton of Sora 2 videos. As you see here, this is kind of the Sora 2 homepage on web. Lots of Pikachu, lots of SpongeBob, lots of Martin Luther King and John Kennedy, dogs and cats driving cars. So we've seen a lot of really fun stuff. This is like security footage, seen a lot of Sam Altman kind of stuff. Here are the things, here's Hamilton. So it's been great. Overall, I think it's kind of like a really fun tool to play with. Sometimes the physics are great. I think in this case of this jumping on the trampoline, it looks pretty good. You can see the trampoline bounce, you can see it kind of inflect back up again. But to your point, sometimes the physics have been a bit weird. I was doing some cooking one and I had like 3 fingers or something. So it looked a bit strange, but, why don't we just do a video here? I have 2 dogs. One of them is a black lab. So, let's do a black, Labrador. And then what should we have her doing? Maybe we could have her cooking, maybe sushi in a high-end, restaurant. How's that sound? With a chef's hat on. Okay, cool. So, it does seem that the generation time is somewhere between like 3 to 5 minutes, meaning that to run this model is probably incredibly expensive for them. I've generated at least like 10 or 15 plus videos so far, at a cost of 0. And if you recall, when we were using Veo 3, the costs were like $6 to $8 a video and then driving downward. So, I don't know how much it's costing ChatGPT to produce these videos. I presume it's incredibly expensive. Right now access to Sora is limited through invitation only to Plus members. And so, they've done some mechanisms to restrict the amount of volume. I even was trying yesterday and kind of got denied because there wasn't enough available servers. So you kind of get an idea that this is just the early days. But what I think is so interesting about the Sora 2 is this is kind of the first time we've seen video continuity. They call it, I think they call it Cameo or Avatar, but essentially you film your face, you move your head left, right, and all around, and then you can simply put yourself inside your own videos. And I don't know if any of these will come up. Let's try. Hopefully we can see some of my previous videos, but here's me tanning leather.
Work them. The liquor keeps them supple while the sun does its job. After a good scrape, you get this even grain, and that's when they start to feel like leather. Hang them up, let the breeze move through.
And the oil refinery one, I think, captured you quite well, if that's available.
Here's me working on an oil rig.
It's eating everything out here. Come on. That's it. Bite down. One more turn. There she goes. Let's get another.
I mean, it's really, there's some, small, I would say, obvious
inconsistencies,
AI imperfections. Yeah. But it's really, really good in terms of, I think, the facial fidelity of what you upload. I mean, that looks just like you.
Yeah, I've never ridden a bull in my life.
Well, you're doing a pretty good job there.
Gates coming open.
What do you think compared to VO3?
Well, I think that's the big difference here is the ability to use your face, inside this content. And I don't know if you've seen these, but, here I am on an elephant. Here I am, as a Buddhist monk, scuba diving with sharks, fighting in a hockey game, working in a Tesla factory, barbecuing, farming. Here I am on the top of Mount Everest playing football, making pizza. So you can look, sushi, fishing, skydiving, Formula One. I mean, here's my Formula One car.
That's it. We did it. The car was unreal today.
So,
amazing.
It's just
amazing.
It's been incredible. This is one of my favorites. It's not so active, but it just looks so real. Just looks so good.
And of course, you get someone creative, give them these tools, and really the sky's the limit. But talk me through really quick. It's hard. It's easy once you have the app to make videos of yourself. You can only make videos of other people if you've granted access for them to use your face and you're friends with them on the social app. So like I've tried to make a video of you and I, it came out okay. But there are some limitations of who you can make videos of. That's why there's so many videos of Sam Altman. But who you can make videos of, if you don't know them and they're not connected to you.
Yeah. So, it is a new form of social network. I think, as you guys are aware, Facebook tried to launch something pretty similar about a week ago, just to kind of, seems like probably to preempt OpenAI here. But, here's me skydiving. Look how realistic it is. I've never skydived in my life. So, again, here's me making coffee in a home in Seattle. This is all fabricated.
Welcome to Seattle. Does anyone want some coffee?
Yeah, amazing. What's interesting is I think yesterday when you filmed your face for the app, you were wearing a black hoodie. And I think in a lot of these videos, it captures you with this black hoodie.
Yes, but, it does, as you see kind of here in this Tesla video, but, or in this cooking video. But here I'm a farmer and it just, it gave me
with a
whole
flannel
new outfit. Look at my fingers there. See no good.
Okay, let's move on. Any other kind of closing thoughts on Sora 2?
Well, here's the Labrador making sushi.
Oh, it's cute. I'm sure he'd chomp it up. That's hilarious. All right. Well, yeah. So final thoughts, and then let's get into some news, which I think,
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, my final thoughts on Sora 2 is obviously it's incredibly fun. Every time one of these new models comes out, whether it's been like images or video, it's really fun to play with it for a few days. I think already I've noticed, the videos are interesting because you're the star of it and less interesting when you're not the star of it. But, the ability to have your imagination run wild of, putting you inside a shark tank with, inside an ocean with sharks or, on top of an elephant or in a farm or in a professional hockey game or, basketball game, fishing, skydiving. I mean, here I am dunking in a basketball game. So yeah, I just thought, it's an incredible way, to really drive up creativity and put yourself in positions that you wouldn't, in activities that you wouldn't normally doing. And, I think this is the beginning of, the ability to create continuous content, kind of using the same character throughout, and really tell a story. And, while these videos are only 8-9 seconds, I think, very quickly we'll start to see 20, 30, 40 seconds, videos. And even in these videos, you see they have multiple cuts. They're very creative. Yeah, it just seems like the really early days. I know NVIDIA's, launching a new video generation chip that doesn't even come out until about June of next year. So I know this is just the early days. We find some areas here where physics or continuity or the image kind of drops. And I think we'll see those things start to go away. And then, these videos will become, hyper realistic to the point that you won't be able to tell what's real and what's been generated.
Super cool. All right. What's hot in the news, Jordan?
Yeah. So, I mean, going off the same OpenAI news, they did a secondary, I think yesterday at a $500 billion valuation. I think they allowed employees to buy up to sell $6.6 billion worth of shares, which is just a massive number. $500 billion valuation is obviously an incredible number. This is above SpaceX, so probably the most valuable private company on the market. And I think this just speaks to, how impactful ChatGPT and OpenAI has been on the AI ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not only one of the highest valuation for a private company. I mean, there's not that many public companies at greater valuations. Yeah, I mean, congrats to the employees that were able to participate in the secondary. And I mean, it just, I think all of us, whether they're just going to be a huge contender in the space. And, it's hard for me now to say if that valuation it makes sense, but, it seems like it's only gone up rapidly since they've really become part of the public domain.
Yeah, well, let's take a step back for a second. If you look at these LLMs and these laboratories, you've kind of got three different verticals. You've got chatbot, you've got coding bot, and now you've got kind of content creation, kind of this image and video generation. And so, a few weeks ago, Anthropic was kind of number one in the coding bot space. Google was number one in the, image and video generation space. And OpenAI, probably had the best chatbot. I would say now, since GPT-5 has come out, they have taken the lead on the chatbot for sure. They've taken the lead on the coding bot for sure. Codex 5 is for sure the number one coding tool in the market right now. And now they've just taken out the lead in video generation. Now, I know Anthropic came out with a new model this week. I haven't been able to play with that enough, but I still believe kind of Codex 5 is the market leader. And so you see OpenAI kind of taking the reign back across these three verticals. And, we'll see more verticals as well. Obviously, as you know, there's audio and a bunch of other AI verticals in which OpenAI does not excel in. But I think in these three kind of chat, code, and content generation,
the biggest ones,
they're in the number one spot right now across the board.
Yeah, it really does seem like they're firing on all cylinders. All right, what else?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so just a few other small things. I read today that Apple decided to deprioritize a smaller Apple Vision Pro in favor of AI glasses like Meta. And I think we talked about the Meta glasses just a few weeks ago. I have not tried the Vision Pro. I think overall people have had pretty bad reviews of it. But it does seem like kind of these glasses are coming to be the new form factor coming through with the Meta glasses. And then, if Apple's able to launch some glasses as well as, OpenAI obviously acquired Johnny Ive's company and maybe they're working on some glasses as well. So I just think this is kind of like the convergence of hardware and software to the point where you have kind of AI on you at all times. And I think, you see all these major labs kind of competing for what does that mean to be on you at all times? Is that the phone? Is that glasses? Is that a pen? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this. I know Vision Pro was a bit of a flop, but I think, Apple's so good at hardware. Whereas Facebook historically, is obviously more software oriented, even though they have the Oculus. But yeah, I think this is going to be really interesting. I think it comes out in 2027. So, about a year and a half away. And, let's see, what they create. But yeah, I was excited to see this. I've never used the Vision Pro outside of the Apple Store. It seems like a little bit too big, too much. So let's see maybe what a little refined Vision feels like with, obviously powered by AI and augmented reality and all the other features.
Yeah, and I know, the market's been down on Apple because they've done a poor job of adopting, AI into the ecosystem. But I think, as you and I can attest to, it seems like the Apple 17 phones are sold out pretty much across the country for days and days. I mean, every time a store gets a new stock, they're sold out. We had a friend trying to obtain one and it was almost impossible to get it at any store. So, even though we're seeing kind of this, Apple not so great at AI stuff, it sure seems like consumers have an insatiable demand to buy the devices.
All right. Well, anything else or time to wrap up?
One last story here. I thought this was really interesting. This guy's name is Steve Simoni, and he sold his last company to DoorDash, and he's now working on an AI robot that shoots down drones. And I thought this was pretty cool, simply just because kind of he changed the space, and this is kind of a new new type of investment using AI for security and defense. As you know, Israel has had its Iron Dome system for years, but we're starting to see more and more companies kind of build out U.S. defense technology. And I thought this was a pretty cool one as well. So he's building these like automatic devices that shoot down drones in the case of some military issues or things like that. So anyway, I just wanted to see this is what it looks like.
The use of drone warfare has like rapidly increased with the conflict in Russia and Ukraine. I'm sure it's being used in other places, but how does it shoot it down? Is it like bullets, or is it some sort of net or lasers, or I haven't seen this article yet. So how does it work?
I know it's like this turret that I don't know if it's using bullets or what it uses, but it's using this turret that sits like you install it on the back of a flatbed truck. And then this thing kind of senses for them and shoots them down. But like you said, we're moving into a warfare state where, these wars are being fought by drones. And so, shooting drones down seems like a defensive mechanism. But yeah, anyway, I just thought it was pretty interesting how AI is, entering the defense space. And this is just a good proof of that.
Well, thanks, Jordan. Entertaining as always. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Built This Week. New episodes every Friday. And any closing thoughts?
Yeah, awesome episode. Again, we're rolling into the fall season, and AI is still heating up. I think, we're seeing NVIDIA continue to hit market highs. Stock market is still ripping. We have a government shutdown this week, yet, the market is still hitting highs. So, it still seems like the early days for AI. Regardless of what happens in like the overall economy, it seems like this AI train is going to continue to chug along, and in fact, be the driver that probably moves the market forward for sure. But yeah, this was a great episode. Really fun to talk about some of these toys. Really having a lot of fun with Sora. We have put together a little Sora best of clip for this episode, so hopefully we can chop that up and play that in here somewhere. But thanks everyone for listening. Like Sam said, like and subscribe on YouTube and all your other favorite podcast platforms. For Sam, I'm Jordan. Thanks so much, and see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Built this week, breaking it down. Built this week, we show you how. A fresh idea, a clever tweak. You locked in, you